Hello dear friends, recently, since Syria hasn't been in the news headline for some time now, I was assuming things must have been turning back to normal, at least to some reasonable degree. It has been quite some time, and I was even thinking to do an expedition there to what is officially called countless crusader castles. They are quite impressive, and I asked somebody who has relatives there, and I will include parts of the reply I received from them so that you know what is the situation in a place which has been ravished by a parasitic war.
There is no electricity, no water, only half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, so you cannot even do washing machine or no fridge. Nobody has ever, even the shops don't have fridge. So the meat, they buy some meat, they cut it and they sell it like that. They still grow some food and some, but life is super difficult, and there is nobody working, and there is no fuel for the cars. You receive 20 liter per week. And when you get an SMS in your phone when there is electricity and when there is internet, because when there is no electricity there is no internet. So Israel is bombing Damascus airport almost every day, so they even stopped the operation there. It's very difficult to travel because there is no fuel. So some taxi, they go to Lebanon and they make the fuel there. But it's super expensive to take this taxi also to travel. So it's like it's really, really, really difficult for everybody in Syria. And of course, they live on the people that are abroad, and they are bringing some money sometimes inside it. Turkey is trying to talk with Syria, but still this ruling family there are very, very strong. So Bashar al-Assad, as long as he's there, nobody will ever come back. So forget about going to Syria. It's totally impossible. You have to have a Syrian passport and a special. When it will all start to be the end times very bad, the Syrians, they will survive. They will not have millions of dead like Europe, because they know how to do it without electricity, without water, they already know everything that we still have to learn when it's all gonna be lacking. But they are really unhappy there, because they all want to get out. They cannot get out. Why they don't let them get out? They are all stuck there. But they cannot find anything, and there is no shops to. Brother, he had a company doing lighting, but there is no electricity. Before they could have generator to compensate for electricity. They did that for 2 years, but now there is no fuel for the generator. So it's really, really without electricity. No elevators in any building is working for already years. That's 11 years. Nobody dares to take because there is no electricity, and even if there is electricity, it might cut the next minute, then you're stuck. So all the elevators are like for nothing. In the Quran, they say the big war will start in Damascus. It's very soon, this thing. 80 countries, you said in the prediction, and it really looks like it. Everybody's in Syria, Iran, Russia, the Hezbollah from Lebanon is there also. The Americans are there, even the French. So they are all there stealing the petrol, the gas, all the artifacts from Palmyra. They took everything. They sold it for a museum in the world.
So, doing laundry by hand, you have to try that if you haven't, to know how exhausting it is. These are some helpful hints for those times. Mechanical washing machines, which do not require electricity. And how smart, of course, the Syrians, they need to constantly monitor their phones to get the message if there is electricity and if there is fuel available for them. Here where I live, also the all-loving, all-good government, they're giving out some help when you fuel. They give you some discount, and just as a detail, they require your documents of the car. You have to identify to get the government help. So how elegantly done, they think. First of all, they create the impression that the government cares, and second, they get extra tracking, yeah, which car and who is fueling and where. So the style of parasitic wars which they're introducing now, it's like this, that no matter how it turns, at the end it is always bad for the people in that country. Currently in Brazil and Peru, the situation is practically a civil war situation. And although on the surface it doesn't look as bad as Syria, let's see, for example, what happened to another country which was in the situation in which Peru and Brazil are now. The country, namely Cambodia, was in that state some time ago, I don't know, a year or two ago. Its prime minister dared to take a course of action somewhat different than the parasitically suggested, and surprise, surprise, after some months, all of a sudden she was taken down by some sort of... Of course, we all know very well who takes down this type of governments. And after that, it was kind of peaceful, yeah, kind of. And then recently we read that exactly Cambodia is big time into the 30 by 30 project, which means it will give a major portion, I don't know, is it only 30? It could be actually way more than that. Of its territory, it will simply give it as a gift to the parasites' world organizations, which pretend to be saving Mother Nature. Of course, they are exactly against Mother Nature, and they are murdering exactly the self-sufficient wild tribes. They are expelling them from the lands of their ancestors, herding them towards the city, where they will really start to pollute nature. And of course, later on, the big shepherds will herd them towards the prison cities, which now the gathered parasites at Davos are openly revealing to us. How are they gonna look like? Tall buildings, very long. No cars there, of course. You will not need any transport, because everything will be provided for their ride. There, just you need to walk a few minutes and you will get everything which they will allow you to get. So the problem which the parasites had in Cambodia was that the real elected by the people leader, she wasn't buying into igniting all kinds of artificial terrorist wars, which involved these, I think you call them Uruhia tribes. When she picked up the scent of blackmailing into stories of international terrorism, she simply ordered the tribes involved to leave the country so that the entire region doesn't go on fire. Exactly the type of fire which destroyed Syria. So the parasites didn't like that twist of the plan. They took down the lady. Of course, in the mainstream media, it was all over that she's against the people and against human rights for doing that. But when they took over, not only they are expelling the remains of these very same tribes, and even more in a way more inhumane and cruel manner, but on the top of that, they are appropriating the entire region for themselves. And God knows what kind of satanic idea they have for that region. For example, if you remember It was years ago, all these stories in the media that there are pirates in the seas around Somalia. All that was, of course, a silly bluff because the so called pirates were obviously just a division of the same satanic army because they were dependent on the special satellite networks which the other divisions kindly provided for them. And at that time, there were rumors that they needed an entire big chunk of the earth to be inaccessible for anybody just because they were testing their cyborgs there. But it doesn't matter if that story is true or not. What is sure is that Satanists, especially nowadays, they will only have satanic plans no matter what they do. And the only way to put an end to all that is to put a complete end to the satanic takeover of the human society. So it was there in the prophecies, and it is coming true. They will leave no opportunity for normal people who do not wish to become implanted cyborgs to function within the current society. Period. If you wish to remain human, get ready to exist and live for a short while outside of the modern society.